John had always been a responsible saver, meticulously stashing away every dollar he could. His savings account had reached an impressive $88,000, a testament to his financial discipline. Little did he know, his partner Sarah had been harboring a secret plan that would soon turn his world upside down. John and Sarah had been together for nearly a decade, weathering the ups and downs of life hand in hand. They had built a comfortable life together, enjoying the occasional getaway and treating themselves to the finer things. However, beneath the surface, Sarah had grown increasingly frustrated with John's preoccupation with his savings. While John saw the money as a means to secure their future, Sarah felt it had become an obsession, a barrier that prevented them from truly living in the present. She had tried to broach the subject on numerous occasions, but John's unyielding dedication to growing his nest egg had always shut down the conversation. One evening, as they prepared dinner together in their cozy kitchen, the tension in the air was palpable. Sarah could no longer hold back her feelings, and she blurted out, "John, I can't do this anymore. The money, the constant saving, it's suffocating me. I feel like I'm living in the shadow of your bank account." John, caught off guard by her outburst, tried to reason with her. "Sweetheart, you know this money is for us, for our future. I'm just trying to make sure we're taken care of, that we have a solid foundation to build on." Sarah shook her head, her eyes brimming with tears. "But that's the problem, John. We're so focused on the future that we're neglecting the present. When was the last time we just enjoyed each other's company without worrying about the next big investment?" The question hung in the air, and John found himself at a loss for words. He had always prided himself on his financial prudence, but now, for the first time, he wondered if he had taken it too far, sacrificing the joy and intimacy of their relationship in the pursuit of wealth. As they finished their meal in uncomfortable silence, John couldn't help but feel that something had shifted between them. He knew he needed to find a way to bridge the growing divide, to reignite the spark that had once burned so brightly. Little did he know, Sarah had already taken matters into her own hands. That night, as John lay sleeping, she opened her laptop and began to draft a post for her social media accounts. The words flowed from her fingertips, a desperate cry for help, a last-ditch attempt to break free from the financial shackles that had bound them. The next morning, John woke up to the familiar sound of Sarah's voice, but the tone was different, laced with a sense of resolve he had never heard before. "John, we need to talk." He turned to face her, his heart pounding in his chest, and that's when he saw it. The open laptop, the damning words on the screen. "I found her post saying she'd leave me after I saved $88K. Ironically, I was about to transfer it." In that moment, John's world came crashing down around him. The savings he had so carefully curated, the financial security he had worked so tirelessly to achieve, had become the very thing that threatened to tear his relationship apart. He felt betrayed, confused, and utterly lost. As Sarah waited for his reaction, John sat in stunned silence, his mind racing with 1,000 thoughts. He had always believed that their love was stronger than any material possession. But now, he found himself questioning everything they had built together. The air in the room grew thick with tension, and the future suddenly seemed uncertain. John knew he had to make a choice, but the weight of that decision threatened to crush him. Would he choose his hard-earned savings or the woman he had promised to love for eternity? The air in the room grew thick with tension, and the future suddenly seemed uncertain. John knew he had to make a choice, but the weight of that decision threatened to crush him. Would he choose his hard-earned savings or the woman he had promised to love for eternity? As Sarah watched John's face, She could see the wheels turning in his mind. She knew she had taken a huge risk by posting her intentions on social media. But she had felt desperate, cornered by John's unwavering dedication to his savings. "John, say something please," Sarah pleaded, her voice trembling with a mix of fear and resolve. "I know this is a lot to take in, but I need you to understand where I'm coming from." John took a deep breath, his eyes finally meeting Sarah's. I don't know what to say. I'm completely blindsided by this, Sarah. How could you do this? After everything we've been through, how could you betray me like this?" Sarah's shoulders slumped, and she felt a wave of guilt wash over her. "I didn't mean to betray you, John. I just feel like I'm losing you to your obsession with money. It's been eating away at me, and I felt like I had to do something drastic to get your attention." John shook his head in disbelief. "Drastic? Sarah, you're talking about leaving me, about taking away everything I've worked so hard for. How is that not a betrayal?" I know, Sarah said, her voice laced with desperation. "But I feel like I've been trying to talk to you about this for years, and you've always brushed me off. I don't know what else to do." John ran his hands through his hair, his mind racing with a million different scenarios. "So what happens now? Are you really going to leave me if I don't transfer the money to you?" Sarah hesitated, her eyes downcast. I don't know, John. I'm just so tired of feeling like I'm competing with your savings account for your attention. I need to feel like I'm the priority, like our relationship is the most important thing to you." John felt a lump in his throat as he realized the depth of the divide between them. He had always thought that their love was strong enough to weather any storm, but now he wasn't so sure. "Sarah, I need you to understand how important this money is to me," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "It's not just about the numbers in my account. It's about security, about having a cushion to fall back on. I've worked so hard to get here, and I can't just give it all away." Sarah nodded, her eyes brimming with tears. "I know, John, and I respect that. But can't you see that the money has become a barrier between us? It's like you're more invested in building your wealth than in building our future together." The words hung in the air, and John felt a weight on his chest that threatened to suffocate him. He knew that Sarah had a point, but the idea of letting go of his hard-earned savings was terrifying. As the silence stretched on, Sarah reached out and gently placed her hand on John's arm. "John, I love you, but I can't keep living like this. I need you to choose, me or the money." John felt his heart skip a beat, and he knew that the decision he made in this moment would change the course of his life forever. Would he risk everything to save his relationship, or would he cling to the financial security he had worked so hard to build? The future suddenly seemed so uncertain, and John found himself standing at a crossroads, unsure of which path to take. The future suddenly seemed so uncertain, and John found himself standing at a crossroads, unsure of which path to take. As he looked into Sarah's pleading eyes, he felt a deep sense of conflict within himself. On one hand, the $88,000 he had painstakingly saved represented a lifetime of hard work, a financial safety net that he had meticulously constructed to ensure their future security. It was a tangible symbol of his discipline and foresight, a testament to his ability to plan and prepare for the unexpected. But on the other hand, Sarah was the woman he loved, the one with whom he had envisioned building a life together. Her frustration with his obsession over the money was palpable, and he couldn't ignore the growing rift it had created in their relationship. As the silence between them stretched on, John knew he had to make a decision. He could either hold on to his savings and risk losing Sarah forever, or he could take a leap of faith and transfer the money to her, sacrificing his financial security in the hopes of salvaging their relationship. "Sarah, I need some time to think about this," John said, his voice barely above a whisper. "This is a lot to process, and I don't want to make a rash decision that I might regret." Sarah nodded, her eyes filled with a mixture of understanding and disappointment. "I know, John. I've been thinking about this for a long time, but I can't keep living like this. The money has become a wedge between us, and I feel like I'm slowly losing you." John reached out and took her hand, his thumb gently caressing her knuckles. "I love you, Sarah. You know that. I need to figure out how to balance my financial goals with our relationship. This isn't an easy decision for me." Sarah squeezed his hand, a small smile tugging at the corners of her lips. "I know, John. I know how important your savings are to you, and I don't want to take that away from you. But I also need to feel like I'm a priority in your life, not just your money." John sighed heavily, his mind racing with 1,000 different thoughts. He knew that Sarah was right. The money had become a barrier between them, a constant source of tension and conflict. But the idea of letting go of that financial security was terrifying. As he sat in the silence, John began to reflect on their relationship, on the memories they had built together over the years. He thought about the laughter they had shared, the adventures they had embarked on, and the love that had always seemed to conquer all. And then a realization dawned on him. The money, as important as it was, could never replace the connection they shared, the bond that had grown stronger with every passing day. Sarah was his partner, his soulmate, and he couldn't bear the thought of losing her. With a newfound resolve, John turned to Sarah and looked into her eyes. "I'm going to transfer the money to you, Sarah. I can't risk losing you, not for anything in the world." Sarah's eyes widened, and she felt a surge of relief and disbelief wash over her. "John, are you sure? I don't want you to feel like you're sacrificing your financial security for me." John nodded, a small smile tugging at the corners of his lips. "I'm sure, Sarah. The money may have been important to me, but you are the most important thing in my life. I don't want to live without you." As the words left his lips, John felt a weight lift from his shoulders. He knew that the road ahead would not be easy, but he was willing to take that leap of faith, to put his trust in the love they shared. With a newfound sense of purpose, John and Sarah embraced, both of them knowing that their relationship was about to embark on a new chapter, one filled with hope, healing, and the promise of a brighter future. With a newfound sense of purpose, John and Sarah embraced, both of them knowing that their relationship was about to embark on a new chapter, one filled with hope, healing, and the promise of a brighter future. As they pulled apart, Sarah looked up at John, her eyes shining with a mixture of gratitude and uncertainty. "John, I can't believe you're really going to do this. I know how much that money meant to you, and I don't want you to feel like you're sacrificing your dreams for me." John cupped her face in his hands, his thumb gently caressing her cheek. "Sarah, you are my dream. Everything I've worked for, everything I've built, it's all meaningless without you by my side. I love you, and I can't bear the thought of losing you, not for anything in the world." Sarah felt a lump in her throat as she listened to his words. She had been so consumed by her own frustration and resentment that she had forgotten just how much John truly cared for her. "John, I love you too. I'm sorry for everything, for the post, for the ultimatum. I was just so afraid of losing you to your obsession with the money." John pulled her close, wrapping his arms around her in a tight embrace. "I know, sweetheart. I know it hasn't been easy, And I'm sorry for not listening to you sooner. But I promise, from this moment on, I'm going to make you my priority. We're going to figure this out together." As they held each other, John felt a sense of relief wash over him. The decision to transfer the money to Sarah had been incredibly difficult, but in that moment, he knew it was the right thing to do. The financial security he had worked so hard to build was nothing compared to the love and connection they shared. But even as he savored the warmth of Sarah's embrace, a small part of him couldn't help but feel a twinge of anxiety. He had spent years meticulously building up that savings account, and the thought of letting it all go was both terrifying and liberating. "Sarah," he said, his voice barely above a whisper, "what are we going to do with the money? I mean, I know I'm transferring it to you, but I want you to know that it's not just for you. It's for us, for our future." Sarah pulled back and looked into his eyes, a thoughtful expression on her face. "Well, I've been thinking about that, and I have an idea. Why don't we use the money to start a business together? Something that we can both be passionate about. Something that will allow us to build a life that's not entirely dependent on my paycheck or your savings." John's eyes widened as he listened to her proposal. "A business? That's actually a really great idea, Sarah. I'd always wanted to start my own company, but I never had the financial security to take the leap." Sarah grinned, the excitement in her voice palpable. "Exactly. And now we have the resources to make it happen. We can put our heads together, come up with a plan, and build something that we can be truly proud of." John felt a surge of energy course through him, and he couldn't help but mirroring Sarah's infectious enthusiasm. "You know, this could be the start of something amazing. Something that could bring us even closer together, both emotionally and financially." Sarah nodded, her eyes sparkling with hope. "That's exactly what I'm hoping for, John. I want us to build a future that's not defined by the money, but by our shared vision and passion. Together, I know we can make something truly special." With a renewed sense of purpose, John and Sarah began to brainstorm ideas, their conversation filled with laughter and excitement. The path ahead may have been uncertain, but with their love and determination as their guiding light, they were ready to embark on a new adventure, one that would redefine the very foundation of their relationship. With a renewed sense of purpose, John and Sarah began to brainstorm ideas, their conversation filled with laughter and excitement. The path ahead may have been uncertain, but with their love and determination as their guiding light, they were ready to embark on a new adventure, one that would redefine the very foundation of their relationship. As they sat together on the couch, their minds buzzing with possibilities, John couldn't help but feel a sense of optimism he hadn't experienced in a long time. The weight of the $88,000 had been lifted from his shoulders, and in its place, a newfound energy and excitement had taken root. "Okay, so what kind of business do you think we should start?" he asked, his eyes bright with enthusiasm. "I'm open to anything, as long as it's something we're both passionate about." Sarah paused for a moment, her brow furrowed in concentration. "Well, you know how much I've always loved cooking and baking. What if we opened a small cafe or bakery? Something that would allow us to share our love of food with the community." John's face lit up with a wide smile. "I love that idea, Sarah. And you know, I've always been pretty handy around the house. Maybe we could even do some of the renovations and construction ourselves, to keep the costs down." Sarah nodded eagerly, her hands gesturing animatedly as she spoke. "Exactly. And we could make it a real family affair, you know? Invite our friends and family to help out. Make it a true labor of love." John reached out and squeezed her hand, his eyes shining with adoration. "I can't think of anything I'd rather do than build something like that with you, Sarah. It's going to be a lot of hard work, but I know we can make it happen." As they continued to discuss their plans, John couldn't help but feel a sense of pride and accomplishment. The money that had once been a source of tension and conflict was now the driving force behind a new, exciting chapter in their lives. But even as he basked in the glow of their shared vision, a small, nagging voice in the back of his mind couldn't help but wonder if they were truly ready for the challenges that lay ahead. "Sarah," he said, his voice laced with a hint of concern. "I know we're both excited about this, but are you sure you're ready to give up the stability of your job? I mean, starting a business is a huge risk, and I don't want you to feel like you have to sacrifice everything for me." Sarah squeezed his hand reassuringly, her eyes filled with unwavering determination. "John, I've never been more sure of anything in my life. This isn't just about you or me. It's about us, about building a future that we can both be proud of. I'm ready to take this leap, and I know you are too." John nodded, his heart swelling with a mixture of pride and trepidation. "Okay, then let's do it. Let's start planning this cafe of ours and make it the best damn thing this town has ever seen." Sarah let out a joyful laugh, her arms wrapping around John in a tight embrace. "I love you, John, and I can't wait to see what we can create together." As they held each other, John felt a sense of peace wash over him. The road ahead may have been uncertain, but with Sarah by his side, he knew that they could overcome any obstacle that stood in their way. This was their chance to redefine their future, to build something that was truly theirs, and he was more than ready to take on the challenge. As they held each other, John felt a sense of peace wash over him. The road ahead may have been uncertain, but with Sarah by his side, he knew that they could overcome any obstacle that stood in their way. This was their chance to redefine their future, to build something that was truly theirs, and he was more than ready to take on the challenge. Over the next few weeks, John and Sarah threw themselves wholeheartedly into their new venture. They scoured the local real estate listings, searching for the perfect location to open their cafe. When they finally found a quaint, charming space in the heart of the city, they knew it was meant to be. With the money from John's savings account, they were able to secure the lease and start planning the renovations. Sarah's eyes sparkled with excitement as they discussed the decor, the menu, and the overall vibe they wanted to create. "I wanted to feel warm and inviting, you know," Sarah said, her hands gesturing animatedly. "Like a cozy little corner where people can come and enjoy a delicious meal or a freshly baked pastry." John nodded, his mind already whirring with ideas. "And we'll have to make sure the kitchen is top-notch, capable of handling the demand. I want our customers to feel like they're getting a truly special experience every time they walk through the door." As they dove headfirst into the planning and preparation, John couldn't help but feel a renewed sense of purpose. The weight of the money had been lifted, and in its place, a newfound energy and enthusiasm had taken hold. He loved watching Sarah's face light up as they discussed their vision for the cafe, and he couldn't wait to see it all come to fruition. But even as the excitement and anticipation grew, a small part of John couldn't help but feel a twinge of anxiety. The decision to transfer the $88,000 to Sarah had been a leap of faith, and he couldn't help but wonder if he had made the right choice. "Sarah," he said one evening as they sat together reviewing their budget, "are you sure this is the right move? I mean, that money was supposed to be our safety net, our financial security. What if something goes wrong with the cafe?" Sarah reached out and squeezed his hand, her eyes filled with understanding. I know it's a big risk, John, but I really believe in this. And you know what? If anything were to go wrong, we'll figure it out together. We're a team, and I'm not going to let you face this alone. John nodded, his brow furrowed in thought. I just don't want you to have to give up everything, you know? Your job, your stability. I don't want you to resent me for this, Sarah. Sarah leaned in and pressed a gentle kiss to his lips, her hand cupping his cheek. John, I could never resent you. This is our dream, our chance to build something truly special. And as long as I have you by my side, I know we can make it work. John felt a weight lift from his shoulders as he listened to her words. He knew that Sarah was right. They were in this together, and he needed to trust in their shared vision and determination. Okay, he said, a small smile spreading across his face. Let's do this, Sarah. Let's make this cafe the best damn thing this town has ever seen. Sarah's face lit up with a wide grin, and she pulled him into a tight hug. I love you, John, and I can't wait to see what we can create together. As they embraced, John felt a sense of excitement and anticipation coursing through him. The path ahead may have been uncertain, but with Sarah by his side, he knew that they could overcome any obstacle that stood in their way. As they embraced, John felt a sense of excitement and anticipation coursing through him. The path ahead may have been uncertain, but with Sarah by his side, he knew that they could overcome any obstacle that stood in their way. Over the next few months, John and Sarah poured their hearts and souls into building their dream cafe. They oversaw every aspect of the renovation process, from the design of the intimate, cozy space to the selection of the high-quality equipment for the kitchen. With each passing day, the vision they had originally sketched out on a napkin began to take shape, transforming into a physical manifestation of their shared passion and determination. As the opening day drew closer, John couldn't help but feel a growing sense of pride and accomplishment. The $88,000 he had once clung to so tightly had become the engine that powered their new venture, and he was amazed to see how it had brought them closer together. Can you believe it, Sarah? He said one evening, as they stood in the middle of the now completed cafe. We're really doing this. After everything we've been through, we're actually building something of our own. Sarah beamed up at him, her eyes sparkling with joy. I know, John. It's like a dream come true. And to think, it all started with that money that nearly tore us apart. John pulled her into a warm embrace, savoring the feeling of her in his arms. Well, I'm just grateful that we were able to find a way to turn it into something positive. This cafe, it's not just a business. It's a symbol of our love and our commitment to each other. Sarah nodded, her head resting against his chest. You're right. And you know, I've been thinking about that a lot lately. About how the money was always this looming presence in our relationship, this thing that threatened to come between us. John listened intently, his hand gently running through her hair. What are you saying, Sarah? I'm saying that I'm glad we were able to move past that, she replied, her voice soft and sincere. The money may have been important, but you, John, you're the most important thing in my life. And I never want to lose sight of that again. John felt a lump in his throat as he listened to her words. He had always known how much Sarah meant to him, but hearing her say it so openly and honestly filled him with a profound sense of gratitude and love. Sarah, I feel the same way, he said, his voice thick with emotion. You are the love of my life, and I would do anything to protect what we have. This cafe, it's not just a business. It's a symbol of our future, of the life we're going to build together. Sarah pulled back slightly, her hands cupping his face as she gazed into his eyes. Then let's make this the best damn cafe this town has ever seen, John. Let's pour our hearts and souls into it, and show the world what we can create when we work together. John couldn't help but smile, his own hands coming up to color hers. You've got it, Sarah. From this moment on, we're in it together, no matter what. As they stood there, surrounded by the fruits of their labor, John felt a profound sense of peace and contentment wash over him. The money that had once been a source of tension was now the foundation upon which they were building their dreams. And he knew that with Sarah by his side, there was nothing they couldn't achieve. With a renewed sense of purpose and determination, John and Sarah set out to make their cafe a resounding success, driven by the unwavering love and trust that had brought them to this moment. With a renewed sense of purpose and determination, John and Sarah set out to make their cafe a resounding success, driven by the unwavering love and trust that had brought them to this moment. The grand opening was a whirlwind of excitement and anticipation as friends, family, and curious locals gathered to experience the fruit of John and Sarah's labor. The rich, tantalizing aromas of freshly baked pastries and aromatic coffee filled the air, drawing in a steady stream of customers eager to indulge in the cozy, inviting atmosphere. As the day progressed, John and Sarah found themselves working tirelessly side by side, their seamless teamwork and infectious enthusiasm captivating everyone who stepped through the doors. The cafe was a resounding success, and the smiles on their faces as they served each customer were a testament to the joy and fulfillment they had found in their new venture. "Can you believe this, Sarah?" John exclaimed, his eyes shining with pride as he surveyed the bustling cafe. "We did it. This place is amazing, and it's all because of us." Sarah beamed up at him, her hands reaching out to give his a gentle squeeze. "I know, John, it's been so much hard work, but seeing it all come together like this, it's just incredible. I'm so grateful we took this chance together." John pulled her into a tight embrace, his heart swelling with love and gratitude. "Me too, Sarah. I wouldn't trade this experience for anything in the world. You've made me the happiest man alive." As the days turned into weeks and the cafe continued to thrive, John and Sarah found themselves falling into a comfortable rhythm. They worked tirelessly, pouring their hearts and souls into every aspect of the business. But they also made sure to set aside time for each other, cherishing the moments they could simply enjoy each other's company. It was in these quiet moments, when they were able to step back and appreciate all they had accomplished, that John truly understood the magnitude of his decision to transfer the $88,000 to Sarah. The money had been the catalyst for this incredible journey, but it was their unwavering love and dedication that had made it all possible. One evening, as they sat together on the couch, John turned to Sarah and said, "You know, I've been thinking a lot about that money, about how it almost tore us apart. But now, looking at everything we've built, I can't imagine my life without it." Sarah nodded, a thoughtful expression on her face. "I know what you mean, John. It's funny how the thing that nearly destroyed us ended up being the key to something so amazing. But I'm so glad we were able to find a way to turn it into something positive." John reached out and took her hand, his thumb gently caressing her skin. "Me too, Sarah. And have realized that the money was never really the most important thing. It was always you and our love that mattered the most." Sarah felt a lump in her throat as she listened to his words, and she leaned in to press a soft kiss to his lips. "John, you are the most incredible man I've ever known. I'm so lucky to have you in my life, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for us." As they held each other, John knew that the decision he had made all those months ago had been the right one. The money was no longer a source of tension or conflict, but rather a symbol of the strength and resilience of their relationship. Together, they had built something truly special, and he knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, they would face them side by side, united in their love and determination. With renewed hope and optimism, John and Sarah embraced the future, ready to embark on the next chapter of their lives, knowing that as long as they had each other, they could conquer anything.